December 8th, 2025. Let's see how many times the strategy came into effect today. We have a market open right here. This is the 2-minute chart. In my last video, I was actually using a 1-minute chart, and I said it was a 2-minute chart. And yeah, that was a mistake. And it just goes to show that though I prefer the 2-minute chart, the 1-minute chart is also viable with this strategy. You can backtest both to see the differences for yourself. We're looking for an alignment. So we open, and the first 15-minute bar prints green. And our 2-hour is like, this is what our 2-hour looks like basically at this point in time. And our 30-minute at this point in time looks like this. It's starting to turn red. And then let's look at our 5-minute twins, the 5-minute extended hours, and then the 5-minute regular hours. Let's see what they both look like. Ah, look at here. They're not aligned. The first thing we want to wait for with this strategy is for both of the 5-minute twins to align. We want them to be in harmony. Look how they're opposite. One's going up, one's going down, okay? So when do they reach harmony? They reach harmony right here. This one is now going down, and it crosses over to the downside. Let's look at the other one. Ah, look, we're already going down. See what I mean by alignment? So we're looking for alignment in the 5-minute twins. That's the first gate to get past before we can take a trade, okay? So now that they're in alignment, which is right now at this point in time, we go to the 2-minute chart and we wait for a power volume bar, which is a volume bar which is much greater than the previous three, or a little bit greater than the previous three. And we want to be on the right side of the 2-minute histogram momentum, and then we enter the position with a 1-to-1, sometimes a 2-to-1 risk to reward. It depends. This is where discretion comes in. This is what people mean when they say discretionary trading. Okay, so do we get the strategy to come into effect? Let's see what happens right here. Okay, do you see this candle? This candle right here on the 2-minute chart, we're on the right side of the momentum. We get a volume bar which is greater than the previous three. Everything is aligned. We take the trade. We target a 1-to-1, and it ends up being a very good win. Here's our entry level. We put our stop loss somewhere above this entry candle. We target a 1-to-1 ratio. And we get more than that. We actually get much more than that because the stop loss would have been up here and the thing kept running, okay? Like, look at all of this money that kept coming, okay? This is a lot of money that kept coming right there. So that is the first occurrence of the strategy today, and one win. One arrival and one win. When do we get another alignment? We're going to forget about the 15 for now because that's a different thing. We use it sometimes for a little bit more context, but really it's the 30, the 5, and then the 2 that we care about. So notice the 30 is going to continue to stay in a downward bias for the majority of the day, which means we don't get to trade again until... So here was this first setup, okay, right here with this yellow vertical line. This was our first setup. This was our first trade. We took the trade. It was a win. The runner kept running. We kept making money. And then look what happens to the 5-minute extent. Look what happens here to the 5-minute histogram bars. They start going against the trade. That means we're not taking any more trades right now. We're waiting for them to align again. Look what happens here. Okay, histogram going up. This is not aligned with our downward bias. But look what happens right here. Right around here, the histogram of the 5-minute starts to taper in alignment with the trade. Very good. This is what we need. And once this happens, you can wait for it to cross over and turn red to be very safe, to have higher safety if you'd like. Or if you like risking, if you like a little bit more risk, which means you can make more money, but it also means you might not be correct as much. Then we wait for this histogram to start coming down to the downside, and then we look for a volume bar, a power volume bar in the 2-minute chart to take the trade. And look what happens right here. Look right here. This candle, we get a power volume bar. We're on the right side of the momentum. Our 5-minute histogram is now moving in alignment with our bias. If you take this trade right here, You're making a lot of money, okay? So this is the second occurrence of the trade. This is the second occurrence of the strategy. This is the early entry if you're a fan of a little bit higher risk, okay? And if you want to be safe, if you want to wait for deeper confirmation, you wait for the 5 minute to cross over to the red. Look what happens here. We are now in the red, okay? We're now in the red, but now we look to the 2 minute MACD to see if we get a power volume bar. Do we? Look, no. And we're on the wrong side of the momentum now. We have to wait until the momentum aligns and we get a volume confluence, which happens right here. This is where money is made. Look what happens here. We get a power volume bar, a volume bar greater than the previous 3. We're not on the right side of the momentum yet, but at least we're getting a nice volume confluence, okay? And look what happens. The very next one, another volume confluence. Still not on the right side of the momentum on the histogram, but we're getting the volume confluences right here, okay? This is an opportunity to get into the trade. You can wait for deeper confirmation though. Look what happens on the next candle. A massive power volume bar. The histogram finally slips and moves in alignment with the downward direction. If you were to take this trade, which is the safest setup, your entry would be here. You would put your stop loss somewhere above that entry candle. You would target a 1-to-1. And you would get the win. You would make some money, okay? And for the rest of the day, we don't get any more opportunities to the downside, really. We only get some upside trades, which I managed to capitalize on. I actually managed to capture this trade right here. But for now, the strategy came into effect 2 times today, 2 of them being wins. I hope you had a good day. I will see you in the next one. Take care now.